Our motivation is because of the grace of God. The third thing is that as we run the Christian race, we must turn setbacks into comebacks. We must turn setbacks into comebacks. As we run the race, brethren, we are going to face a lot of difficulties. We are going to face a lot of challenges. There are times where people will discourage us. There are times where life will become difficult. You know, when the good times, a few years back, when there was good time, everybody was so happy. Just last year, we have bad times. And it's going to get even worse, a lot of people say. You know. But these things will come. The Bible tells us there will be 7 years of good and 7 years of lean. Believe it, brethren, whatever goes up, it will come down. Whatever comes down, it will go up. But we need to turn setbacks into comeback. There was this cyclist by the name of Lance Armstrong. In 1996, he was diagnosed with cancer. The doctor only gave him 50% chance of survival because the cancer has spread to the brain and the lungs. After 4 rounds of chemotherapy and 2 operations, finally Lance Armstrong turned his setback into comeback. 3 years after he was being diagnosed with life-threatening cancer, he won one of the sport's most grueling cycling events in the Tour de France. A cyclist. Although he was diagnosed with cancer, he came back. Brethren, we must make setbacks into comebacks. The Bible in Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 1 and 2. Let us please turn with me to that again. And look at this, how the scripture tells us and encourages us. He says, therefore we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and sin which so easily ensnares us. Isn't it so, as we travel our life as Christians, we face snares, sin that so easily ensnares us, the weight that so easily ensnares us. But we must persevere. We must persevere. We must hold on. There was this pilot, and this pilot was flying the plane, and suddenly the plane had a noise at the back, and the plane was in trouble. And so this pilot went, this co-pilot, there's a co-pilot, went back to it, and he was checking on this plane and the tail of it to see what happened. And as he was doing this, suddenly he fell out of the plane. But he managed to hold on to the tail. The pilot thought that this co-pilot had already fallen off. He radioed the station and asked them to send out ships to rescue him. Never did he realize that as the plane landed, they found this co-pilot with his hands hanging on the tail. The plane flew for 200 miles an hour at an altitude of 4,000 feet, and yet he held on to this plane. When they wanted to remove him, his fingers were on the tail so tight that they really had a hard time removing his fingers. Brethren, likewise as Christians, when we run the race, we need to hold on to God. Hold on to the faith that we have. Don't ever give up the race. We can finish the race. We can finish the race if we hold on to God. We need to persevere. In James chapter 1 and verse 4, it says, perseverance must finish its work so that you may be matured and complete, not lacking anything. Not lacking anything. In Philippians chapter 4 and verse 6 to 7, we are to pray about all our circumstances. Whatever circumstances we are in, we need to pray. He says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, but by prayer supplication, giving thanks to God. Present your request to God. How often do you come to God and pray to Him and ask Him to help us in times of difficulties and challenges? Brethren, these are some of the principles that I can share with you. Number one, we must run with confidence. Confidence in God. Number two, we must run with the right motivation, depending on the grace of God to help us. And number three, we must run in a way to turn setbacks into comebacks. Don't ever give up. I want to close this lesson. My lesson is always very short. Even in Klang, I'm called the shortest preacher. I just want to close with you of this story that I have read somewhere. You know, there was this Tanzanian runner. He was running the Olympic, and as he was running into the Olympic stadium, his knee began to bleed, you know, because of the early injury. And he was running, and as the crowd was looking at him, you know, they were looking at him with all the leg bleeding. They thought that he was not able to finish, but yet he ran and ran and ran. Finally, he finished the race. And after that, the interviewer came and asked him this question. He says, "How did you make it? How did you make it?" You know, the Tanzanian runner says, "My country did not send me 7,000 miles away to start the race. They sent me 7,000 miles away to finish the race." Friend, we have started the race, yes, but we need to finish the race. We haven't finished the race, but with God's help, we can finish the race. The year 2009 has just begun. We need to resolve in ourselves to do something for Him. We can do a lot of things for Him. Let us not give up in our Christian race. Let us continue to persevere, to hang on to God. Thank you.
The Lord and me, the grace of the Lord. If you come and go with grace, the gospel is for all. The gospel is for all. The gospel is for all. The sinners come and go with grace, the gospel is for all. None indeed and I am home beyond the end of all. Why should we be blessed, the Lord? The gospel is for all. The blessed gospel is for all. The gospel is for all. The sinners come must go His grace. The gospel is for all. Exceeding freely, freely give from every land they call. Unless they and they cannot live, the gospel is for all. The blessed gospel is for all. The gospel is for all. The sinners come must go His grace. The gospel is